We talked about the pass rushers, but I want to hear again from Brian Gutekunst. So number one on the sheet, Joshy, about what he sees when he looks at the pass rush from last season being good enough going forward.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, is just the fact that we need to affect the quarterback with 4. And how we do that will kind of remains to be seen. But we had good moments last year, but it just needs to be more consistent. It needs to be able to control the game, and we need to control the game and finish games off. And again, I'm excited about the guys we have in the room. We'll see if we add to it. But that's got to get better if we're going to accomplish our goals that we want to accomplish in this season.
I'm excited about the guys we have in that room, Chew. Your reaction?
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'll give Lucas Van Ness one more year, but I mean, he doesn't look like a starter in the NFL right now. And usually you have to give a guy time physically, to mature. Like in my case, Jen, I came in, I think I was 237, right? If you're going to be a tight end, back in my day, because you had to be able to block, you can't play the position at 237. So I obviously had to put on weight. They gave me time to do that, eventually landing on 253. Lucas Van Ness came in as a specimen, right?
Hercules,
that's what they're calling the guy. So that's already there. It's the talent, and I don't want to blow my own horn, but I had good hands. I had talent. I knew the game. Right? I saw that. What did you just say to Gabe?
Well, if
you're on camera.
You just said, I don't want to blow my own horn.
If you can blow your own horn, that's impressive.
So I'm just saying.
And the phrase is toot. So if you're wondering what I said to Gabe, I said, toot?
So the athletic ability was there to get it done on my side, but the size was not. I don't see the ability in Van Ness. I'm sorry. I've seen enough film to be like, I don't think this guy can play. Kenny Clark is a year older.
Yeah.
Right? He's not going to get better. He's a year older. He's on the backside. And then Rashawn Gary, Gabe, like you said, he's never had double-digit sacks. Going into your 7th year, you're slightly past prime, I think. Prime in the NFL for a D lineman is probably 5, 6, 7, unless you're special.
I look at Rashawn Gary, Chew. I think he can be if he's your secondary pass rusher.
Yes.
Okay, that guy, he can, again, they were really impressed with his ability to set the edge, which, again, it's not what he's getting paid for, but you take what you can get at this point. If he's your second guy, you feel pretty good about that. But they just don't have a primary guy. And no. Lucas Van Ness is supposed to be a strength guy who on multiple occasions couldn't outstrength the tight end. He couldn't get the bull rush on a tight end. He got stonewalled multiple times while trying to rush the passer against the tight end last year.
I just don't understand how you can say, and I don't know exactly the quote because it was a few minutes ago and my brain has already knocked it out. But basically he was happy with the guys in the room.
He's excited about that.
Excited. Great. That makes more sense. The unit ranked 26th in pass rush win rate. I don't understand how you can say something like that. The obvious answer here is we have to upgrade at the position. We need more from the guys that we have, and we need to go out and get somebody who can light a fire under their you-know-whats. That's what is obvious to the naked eye.
I felt like that's what I heard.
But he
said maybe add a piece.
Here's the problem. He can't go because he knows everything we know. Doesn't look like Myles Garrett, doesn't look like Max Crosby is going to be available. Jen just listed off the, Madden creative players that are going to be available in free agency. He's looking around knowing that there is a real possibility that they don't add anything substantial to that room because of what's actually available out there. And if one of the guys that he likes doesn't happen to fall to them in the draft, they might add a piece here and there. I don't think he can just come out and say, they stink, and then not do much about it because he's kind of handcuffed based on what's actually available to teams in the pass rush department this offseason.
But you can say, and I know that he kept saying, we need to get pressure with 4. We need to affect the quarterback with 4. I will tell you this, guys. The thing that I took away from Goody yesterday that was the most significant was that phrase he kept using of control the game. When he said that, and he said it on both sides of the ball, he talked about it offensively and defensively, control the game, a light bulb went off in my head. Bing! That's exactly what, when I watch this Packers team, I see an inability to control the game, to exert your will and dominance on the other team. That's what I see. They are more like buoys out there being moved around by the waves around them and sort of just reacting to it. If they happen to stumble their way into a score or stumble their way into a takeaway, great, wonderful, it worked. But I don't ever see them asserting their dominance. So that was the one big takeaway that I had from what Gutekunst said yesterday, which was control the game. And I was like, you're 1,000,000% right. That is exactly what we are seeing. We are seeing a team that is not able to control the outcome of the game often enough.
Well, that's closing out the game, too. We talked about that during the season, where the defense, when the cards were on the table, everything's ready to go. How many times did they give up the lead? Yes, they were bailed out a couple of times by the offense in games like Tennessee and Houston when they were at Lambeau Field, but so many opportunities they had to make a big stop when it mattered, and they just didn't come through. And that comes down to, like you said, not being able to control the game, not being able to go, hey, we've got 4 guys, and we feel good about them getting after the quarterback and making that quarterback nervous and making a mistake.
I also think on the offensive side of the ball, there was no, aside from the Malik Willis games with Josh Jacobs, there was no, we're shutting this game down with a long sustained drive, we're going to keep the clock and burn it. It felt like the Packers scored with explosive plays, got down the field fast, and then punched it in. There was no, like, we're going to do what the Lions do. We're going to keep running it, or San Francisco 49ers in the past. We're going to keep running it, we're going to control the clock, and we're going to systematically run down the field on you. It felt like you always needed a big explosive play. It wasn't necessarily, they're just end-to-end, they're better.
6 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards. Just these little, just kind of jabs that lead to those big 4-minute drives.
I wonder if let's say they get a mid-range free agent D end, right? Let's say they draft a corner in the first round and then a receiver in the second. I mean, where are they going to be ranked in the preseason in 3 of the 4 most important positions on the field? Obviously, quarterback's the most important. Then you take receiver, D-line, and cornerback. Where do you think the receivers are going to be ranked in the preseason, or the cornerback?
Middle of the pack. Middle of the pack.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it 2 ways. Let's do it without adding a Davante Adams. Let's do it with adding a Davante Adams.
Then I don't think they're top 10.
They might be top 10.
I don't know.
With some of the depth that they have,
a lot of teams.
I think if you add that number 1 receiver, it's amazing how things are going to start to make sense behind it. I think people are just going to fall into roles because you're going to have these clearly defined roles. Everybody's going to know, and it just kind of all falls into place.
All right. Well, let's just quickly go through it. Okay. They're not better than if Tyreek Hill comes back, they're not better than Miami. They're not better than the Eagles. Are they better than Washington with Davante Adams?
Yes.
Are they better than the Ravens?
With Davante, yes. If we're just doing wide receivers.
They're not better than Cincinnati because they're going to
Well, it depends upon what happens with
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
They're going to re-sign both guys.
Yeah, if they do. Yep.
Well, T. Higgins
they're not better than Detroit. They're not better than Minnesota.
Yeah.
They're not better than Minnesota. They're probably not better than Houston with Nico Collins back. Tampa Bay, if they get Godwin back, no.
But, I mean, who knows even if they have Godwin. They got a couple of old guys who are always injured.
They may be 10 would be
yeah, they'd be right around there.
10, 11, 12.
Are we just going to blow by whatever you guys were saying about T. Higgins?
Yeah, T. Higgins, the GM, said we're working on an extension, to which he responded with a blue cap, saying he's lying.
Okay, that's what that meant?
Yes.
I had no idea.
A blue cap. I've never heard of that.
Here we
It's an
go.
emoji.
Oh.
So how do we
I can go like
explain
this, Gabe? If I give Angie's friend this signal, she should know that's a blue cap.
We might need to workshop it a little bit, buddy. If you tip your cap like that, it usually means,
Nice game.
yeah, good job. I appreciate you. I don't think you can tip your cap and just assume that people are going to know it means she's lying.
So blue cap means lying?
Not blue. It's just that's what color the emoji is. It's cap and no cap, right, Joshy? You're the cool guy here. Will's also back there. Part-time Will is back there. Maybe we should rely on part-time Will for the translation of the emoji.
It's just a slang term that's used for lying. You're capping. So
Okay.
the emoji then replaces you typing out cap because it is just
All right.
baseball.
Because
cap.
I saw the cap. I had no idea what it meant.
Yes, it was in direct relation. It was shortly after the comments came out from their GM who spoke yesterday.
Yeah,
I
right.
just saw Ian Rappaport tweet the emoji eyes, but I assumed that he didn't know what it meant, but felt like he had to respond, and that was the easiest way to do
Ian
it.
Rappaport's more hip than you.
I mean,
Hold
probably.
on, but I've been hold on, Joshy. So I've been sent the blue cap and had no idea what it meant.
Well, it might
what are
not
they,
necessarily.
Are you
I
a
mean,
liar?
I think
Is
it
that what they're
depends
calling
wholly
me?
who sent it to you.
angry?
Angry called you a liar?
I don't know how up to.
Yeah, that could mean anything. With you olds, those emojis you're clicking could mean anything.
I prefer antique.
Yeah,
Vintage?
vintage is better. I like vintage. You know what? T. Higgins is going to come out in about a week and be like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. I just signed a deal with Lids. And we'll be like, oh, that makes sense. You signed a deal with Lids, right? I wonder. But Jamar Chase was the other thing too. Didn't they say that they're working on a deal to make him the
Yes.
highest paid wide receiver, highest paid player outside of quarterback? I believe is the distinction I saw yesterday.
Yeah, that's like $30+ million we're looking at there for him. It's
Tough.
going to be hard to pay T. Higgins what he
That's
would require
probably
as well.
what the blue cap was referencing.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to commit $60+ million to 2 wide receivers.
Oh, that'd be so sick if they did.
It would be,
Trey
but,
Hendrickson could become real expendable real fast.
but have fun having the bottom 2 defense again in the NFL. Feels pretty clear what their issues were, and spending $65 million
On the other side of the ball,
They need to make sure that offense, continues to, keep pace.
they're like greatest show on turf team 2, right? Part 2. All
Yeah,
right.
but there's also no chance that Goody's spending $33 million on a receiver. Let's just put that to bed
God,
right
no.
now.
No,
Yeah.
because again,
Put
that's
that
going to be a
bed.
double whammy, Chew.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, I
Absolutely.
believe
Yeah.
that they're still going to franchise tag T. Higgins.
I do think this time around, if T. Higgins was Devontae Adams and the Packers still had him, they would pay him that money. I don't think they're going to go outside of a guy they've had in the building for that.
Yeah, because that's the added value of the Devontae Adams is been there, done that.
Yes.
We don't have to get you up to speed that much. You know, there's subtle nuances. There'll be obviously changes because teams change things all the time, but he'll be ahead of any other curve that any other receiver would be in.